Hello and welcome to our lesson today. We're going to be reviewing 3.4, which we went over last week on Thursday and Friday on your respectable classes. So your EQ is how can I convert different forms of linear equations to slope-intercept form? Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And then we have these two other forms, point-slope form, which actually has two different variations. And then the standard form, ax plus by equals c. And what we're going to be doing is taking these two forms and being able to convert them to y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept form, so that we can easily graph them. Because when we know the slope and we know the y-intercept, it's very easy to graph such equations on a line. So we just want to make sure that you're understanding this. And we're going to go through the steps to this again. So if you have not gotten this in your notes from last week, you really need to get it in your notes. So I'd hit pause and do that right now. So step one is use the distributive property to remove any parentheses. Step two, combine all like terms. Remember, a like term has the same variable or is a constant. So 3x can be added with 2x, but 3x cannot be added with, say, a plus 5. So we would have to leave that just as 3x plus 5, where 3x plus 2x could be combined to be 5x. So there's the difference. They need to have the same variable, and if they don't, then they cannot be combined via addition or subtraction. So there's a quick reminder of what like terms are. And then 3, isolate y by balancing the equation using the properties of equality, which that means using your inverse operations. Okay. And then you rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So let's continue. I have 5 example problems for us to quickly do today. Oops, forgot to erase that. Okay, so y plus 6 equals 3 times the quantity x plus 2. So remember, first thing, use distributive property to get rid of any parentheses. So the distributive property means the number outside the parentheses is multiplied times every term inside. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times positive 2 is positive 6. And then on the left side, we just bring down the y plus 6 equals. Now we're really trying to isolate this y all by itself. So I need to subtract the 6 to move it to the other side of our equal sign. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So on this side, it actually also cancels. 6 minus 6 is 0. So we're left with 3x. So our equation would be y equals 3x. We know our slope, which is 3. We also know our y-intercept, which is 0. Even though it's not written, we know that it's a 0 here. So y equals 3x is our first equation. Example 2, y equals 1/2 times the quantity x plus 8 minus 2. Once again, we can remove the parentheses by using the distributive property. So we want to distribute the 1/2 to the x. So 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. And then 1/2 times 8 is a positive 4. Then we go ahead and just bring down our minus 2. And y equals, our next step here is that we need to combine our like terms with these two constants. The constant does not have a variable. We can combine those by doing 4 minus 2, which is going to be positive 2. And then our 1/2 x just comes down, as well as our y equals. So our slope-intercept form of the equation is y equals 1/2 x plus 2. We know 1/2 is our slope, and we know that 2 is our y-intercept. So moving on to example 3. Looks like I did not erase everything. So first step here is to once again get rid of parentheses by doing the distributive property. So 1 times x is merely x, and 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. So we have y plus 1 equals x minus 3. I need to isolate my y all by itself. So in order to do that, I use the inverse operation to remove the 1. So that cancels, and I'm left with y. And what I do to one side of the equal sign, I must do to the other. So my like term is the negative 3. So negative 3 minus 1. Remember, I'm starting at negative 3 on the number line, but I'm going 1 more negative. So that's going to be negative 4. And then I bring down my x. So our equation is going to be y equals x minus 4. That's slope-intercept form. Remember, there's no number in front of the x. It's understood that it's 1. So our slope is 1, and our y-intercept is negative 4. Moving right along here, example 4. This one doesn't have parentheses, so I can start by just looking to isolate this y. So it's connected with negative 4x. So in order to move that over to the other side, I'm going to have to do the inverse operation of negative 4x, which is add 4x, so that cancels. And over here, I add 4x. Now, our y is by itself, but a lot of people are going to look at this, and they're going to see 4x and negative 2. Well, that's going to be 2x, because 4 minus 2 is 2. But, ladies and gentlemen, these are not like terms. So I need to just write them as separate terms. So it's going to be 4x minus 2. So 4 is my slope, and negative 2 is my y-intercept. That's slope-intercept form. Let's go ahead and jump into our last example. So once again, I'm looking to isolate this y. I have a couple things attached to that. I have a negative 4 right in front of it, so that means it's multiplied times that. And then I also have a positive 2x sitting out here. So that's my first step. I actually want to deal with this positive 2x first because I can just subtract 2x from both sides to move it over. So I'm left with negative 4y equals negative 2x minus 4, because once again, I cannot combine these to be negative 6x because this one does not have an x with it. So it's all by itself as a constant at the end. Now, y is still not isolated. I need to isolate this y by itself. So in order to do that, negative 4 is multiplied times the y right here. So I need to divide by negative 4. And when you divide or multiply by a number on one side, you have to multiply or divide by every single term. So I have to divide by negative 4 here and divide by negative 4 here. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 on the left is going to be a positive 1y, which means it's y equals. And then negative 2 and negative 4 here, negative divided by negative is positive, so I know this is going to be a positive outcome. But this is a fraction, 2 over 4. So I can simplify this fraction to be 1/2. And remember, it's positive because of the negative negative. And then my x comes with it. And then my last term, negative 4 divided by negative 4, well, negative divided by negative is positive, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. So my slope is 1/2, and my y-intercept is 1. So that is how we convert these equations to b and y equals mx plus b form. Now, you guys are going to spend the rest of class working on the 3.4 worksheet. And then the last 7 minutes, you're going to work on doing the 3.4 exit ticket, which is just 2 or 3 problems. And treat this 3.4 worksheet as practice for the exit ticket so that when you get to the end of class, you can nail it and get 100% on it. And the 3.4 worksheet you guys are working on will be due. Let's make it due on Thursday. That way you don't have to worry about it after break. Okay, so I will be collecting those on Thursday. And then the homework you were supposed to collect today, I will collect tomorrow. So you guys get to work on this. Have a great day.